Hey everybody, Dave here, and welcome back to another one. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, a Downrigger weight system with a release clip for $7? Impossible, but it's true, and I'm going to take you through the whole process of my design and exactly how I built it. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works so you can run it right out of your kayak or your boat without a Downrigger. So stick around. Okay, now that we're back in the shop, let me show you the two components for building this Downrigger weight. We've got a piece of 3/16 inch thick by 4 inch wide flat stock, and I've cut this 7 inches long. This is going to be our rudder for the Downrigger weight. Now some people might put it this way on the weight, but we're going to run it this way because that way the main weight is all pulling straight down and the water can go around it on each side like this. So next thing, for the main portion of our weight, I'm going to be using this round stock, and this is 3 1/4 inch diameter, and for every inch of this it's 2.33 pounds. So that means we're going to cut this at 3 1/2 inches, and we're going to utilize that section with this 4 inch stock as a rudder on here. And what I calculated was, by making this 3 1/2 inches, this 3 1/4 inch diameter stock, it makes this 8.23 pounds. So it's just about 8 1/4 pounds. This flat stock here actually is almost just about 1 1/2 pounds. I think it's 1.47 pounds. So these together, when we're finally done, plus the welding on there, it'll be just about 10 pounds. And that's perfect because I'm not looking to troll, you know, way down like 150, 200 feet like some guys do. I'm only looking to troll 30 feet or so out in the bays and on the lakes up here. So I'm going to be building 2 of these, and then I'm going to show you just how I attach the rudder so it makes it easy to attach your clip-on line and also your release. So first thing we're going to do is going to cut this and at 3 1/2 inches. This I've already cut, as again I said, it's 4 by 7. Now I know most of you do not have a cut-off saw like this. I understand that. What you can do is you can take a piece of paper, mark 3 1/2 inches, wrap the piece of paper around here, and then draw a line, and then go around with a reciprocating saw, turning it. You can also use a grinder like this with a thin wheel cut-off saw or blade and do the same thing. You're just going to take a little longer, but it can be done. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 3 1/2 inches, put a mark, and then we're going to cut this one off. So now I've got one more piece to cut. I'll just move that over a little bit more, measure from the back side in 3 1/2 inches, and we'll cut that. Make sure that when you're doing this, you make sure you have the proper safety equipment on, eye protection and all that. So once that's done, then we'll start notching out the rudder piece right here, and we'll get it all set up. Okay, now that I've got all the pieces cut, let me talk a little bit about the design and what I came up with. Originally, I was going to lay the weight this way and cut this to fit on there, but I thought with the pivot point up here, it could do a lot of wiggling like this. And that's something that I didn't want. I wanted the weight to stay more stable. And so what I decided to do was come up this way and mount the plate this way. That way the weight is transferred down and it can't wiggle very much, as you can see. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to notch this plate out so that it sets up and over the top, leaving me about 1 inch up here. I'll take this corner off and each of the back corners off as well, and then I'll weld it here and down, and then I'll drill a hole here and one back here to make my attachment points. So as you can see, this is 4 and this is 3 1/2, so we're up about 1/2 inch right now. I'm going to come up another let's make it 1 1/4 inches. And so I'll do that, and then I'll come in and down, and that'll leave me about a 3 3/4 inch tail here on the end, which I think is more than enough. So let me lay this out. I'll use a square and make all my marks, and then I'll cut it off, and I'm going to be using a grinder with a wafer wheel like this. You can get these at Harbor Freight. When they're on sale, they're about $9 or $10, $9.99. And these are the wafer wheels I use, 40 grit metal. They're 1/16 thick, and they do a great job. You can buy a 5-pack for about $7. So you can actually do all your cuts with that. The steel, you might be wondering how I do this for around $5. Well, again, we've got just a little less than 10 pounds into all this. With the welding on here, it might be right around 10. And all this steel I get from a scrap yard. It's about an hour from me, and it has all different types of metal, and I pay 50 cents a pound for the steel now. I used to pay 40 cents, but it's up a little more now. Okay, I've laid out the steel, and instead of coming down 1.25 inches, I decided to come down 1 inch. I took the square here, laid it across here, transferred the line over, came in 3.5 inches, and then took the square this way and transferred it down. Then I just took the square at an angle up here and just approximated. I cut a little. I'm going to cut a little corner off there. I'm going to make the corners here the same. Cut this one off. Cut that one off, and then we'll fit it and weld it. So let's get to cutting this off. And that grinder with the wafer wheel really makes quick work of this. Okay, now that we have these cut out, we have to make sure that they are going to be in the center here. We don't want them setting off, that's exaggerated, but we don't want them off to the side like that, like this, or we don't want them twisted like this or that. So we want to put them right down the center. Okay, I found that the easiest way to line up this rudder is to find the center, set it on top, measure over. It's just a hair bigger than 1.5 inches on each side. And then I use a magnetic square and put it on the table and on the rudder, and that looks pretty good. I am going to TIG weld these because this is such a heavy block of metal. It takes a little bit to get heated up. So it allows me to take the time and work this because this is a thin piece on top of it. Okay, now that they're all square and I've cleaned up all the metal where I'm going to weld, it's all tacked together, I can lay a bead in here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole right in here someplace, and the best way to do that I found is just to take a pair of needle nose pliers like this, and as you can see when I lift it up, see how it tilts forward? We just keep moving up that way. You don't want to grab it down here, you want to grab it up high, and it's still lifting forward a little bit, right? Looks like just a hair. Right there. So now what I can do, put a pencil mark right here. And that's where we're going to drill a hole. I will turn it down like this, center punch it, and drill a hole there. And then I'll also drill a hole right here at the bottom of this chamfer. Okay, now that we've got our downrigger weights all painted up and the holes drilled out, and just for reference, if you're going to be building something similar, I came in from this edge to that hole 1 7/8 inches, this dimension here, and I just centered it with the top of the weld to the top of the end of the plate here. This one here is down about 1 inch and in about 3/8 of an inch, and I used 7/32 drill bits, I believe is what I used. So, and then I just chamfered them with a little bit larger drill bit to give it a nice smooth transition, so it's not a sharp corner here. Now, the one thing about these weights is you can utilize these without a downrigger. They're not really heavy. They're 9 pounds or so, and you could use them in a kayak. You could use them on a boat without a downrigger setup. All you have to do is put a clip in here and run a piece of paracord, and you could drop it down, you know, mark the paracord in feet, and then you know, with a little Sharpie every 5 feet or so, and that'll get you pretty close to what you want to do. I'm going to be building a set of downriggers for these, so just be sure to check out our channel in the future. Hopefully I'll have that done in a couple of weeks for you and get that posted up as well. So now with these done and all painted up, and I gave them 2 coats of black paint on here, I'm going to be building these release clips. And let me show you what they look like. They're really easy, very simple. I have a 250-pound snap swivel here, and I've got a piece of looks to be 1/8 inch or 5/32 stainless steel that I got at the scrap yard for a couple little bit. It wasn't much. I bought a whole length of it, and so what I did was I bent this. As you can see, I bent it in an S type of a hook, and I close this up. I am going to pinch this shut and give it a little tack weld so that this swivel doesn't fall out. But let me show you step by step just how I made this. Now this is going to go very simply. I'm going to put the S hook with the shape down. I'm going to just put it right through this hole and just snap it on here. Alright, and so this is going to troll like that, and I'll have a rubber band on here. When the fish strikes, the rubber band will break. It will stay on this portion, but it will break at the line. And so that's a super easy release. If I'm fishing for lighter biting fish, then I'm going to attach a inline right here, an inline release that I got on Amazon. I got a pair from for about $8. But anyway, let me show you how to make these. It's really simple, and there's 2 different types of rubber bands you can use. There's number 33 for larger fish, number 19 for smaller fish, and it works super easy. So let me jump in and show you exactly how to make this release. Okay, let's jump over to the bender, and I made this bender. It's really quite simple. I'll show you exactly how I did this in another video, so you might want to be checking our channel out. I've got a lot of how-to stuff coming up for you, and this is going to be one of them. But anyway, what I want to do is I want to just bend this in an S to get started. So I just put it in the bender and bring it around and bend it around like this. Okay, with our first bend like that, and I just estimated this is about 1 inch from the curve here to the end, and like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I like to match them the same. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it back in the bender, and I'm going to put this so it's tight against there and against here, and I'll give it another bend all the way around here. Now once I get to this portion, I'm going to pull this around. I'm going to actually lift up on it and bring it around like that, so it's in line. There you go. Now you can see it a little better. Like that. Now what I'll do is I'll cut that off right about there, and then I will put the swivel on and then just bend these so they're in line. I'll just move it over. So let's go ahead and do that. There you go. Now we'll put the swivel on. I'll clean this up a little bit. Put the swivel on, then I'll just open that a little bit and set it right on top of the other one. These swivels I got them on Amazon. They're good for 250-pound rating, and this is what they look like. So I will put the release on that side, and this side will clip in and out of the downrigger. When I'm using the upper release that I have that will be in line with my line, attaching the downrigger to the boat, then I will remove this, and that's why I want the swivel on there. I don't want the 2 lines to foul by accident. So let's put this on and close up the loop. So now I'm going to take the snap swivel, and I'm going to thread it onto the downrigger clip like this. Now I'm going to put it in the vise, and it doesn't have to be a big vise. This is my little vise I just use for holding things when I'm welding or soldering. And now I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to just move this over on top. A little more. Right like that. Now you probably don't even need to weld this because of the spring tension keeps that shut, and this is not going to pull open before a rubber band breaks. So that's good to go, just like that. Now it's just a matter of attaching it to the weight. So now with that all hooked up, let me show you exactly how this release works. It's very simple. I have some 30-pound braid here, and what's great is this rubber band system works with braid or mono. A lot of times the pinch clips will slide with the braid because it's so thin. And what I'm going to do is take a number 19 rubber band right here, which has only a few pounds breaking strength on it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on top, just like that. Reach through and reach around and pull the rubber band through, sort of like a handshake. You see that? Now it's going together. Now here's the key. Once you get it this close, this is after you've let out maybe 20, 30, 50 yards of line or 50 feet of line, whatever you want to do. Once you bring it this close, you take it and you give it a quick jerk, just like this. And you can see how that knots up really tight right there. So now that you have your rubber band attached to your line, and this is after you've already let it out behind the boat, whatever distance you want to go, you're going to take your index finger and your thumb, just like this, reach through the bottom and stick them out to the side and just go over like this, and you'll be able to pinch. You're going to create another loop just like this, see? And then that loop is going to go over the downrigger hook, just like this. And you can work it back and forth to cinch it on there. Now as you can see, that's on there. It's connected. What's going to happen, that's going to run out behind the boat like this. Alright? And when a fish strikes, boom. The rubber band breaks, stays attached to your hook, just like this. When you reel it up, you just slide it off, put it in your garbage bag, and you can set it up to throw another one. Very easy, very simple. Doesn't take much for the fish to break it free, but it stays on there. It doesn't slide off. It works equally well for braid or for mono. You know, a downrigger weight is an essential part of any downrigger system. It's the thing that carries your lure down into the strike zone and keeps it there at 50, 100 or more feet so that you can work a lure to the fish. It's designed to be in those depths for long periods of time if necessary. But you know what's not designed to be in the depths? And that's you and I as human beings. You see, depression is something that's very real that I never thought was until it struck me in my life. Back around 2000, I fell into extreme depression. There was nothing that really seemed to work for me. I went to counseling. I tried prescription drugs that were issued to me by the doctor, and nothing seemed to work. I was angry at God. I was angry at everybody, and my marriage was on the rocks. And matter of fact, there were times I even thought about taking my own life. I hurt so badly inside. You know, maybe you're like that right now. Maybe it's you or maybe a loved one that's going through this deep depression you don't know how to get out of. I know I didn't. But you know, it wasn't until I finally decided that I'd had enough and I couldn't live one more day like that I turned back to God. I remember sitting on my porch and just committing whatever was left of my life to God and saying, Lord, you've got to fix this because I can't do it myself. And as I began to look in the scriptures, God began to take me through the steps that actually restored my thinking and restored my soul. And he freed me from that bondage of depression in a period of really less than 2 weeks. And I just want to let you know that there's hope for you too. As a matter of fact, I've written a book about it. It's called Freedom from Depression in Less Than a Month. It's about my journey. It's about God's goodness and how he restored me and the steps he used to do that. And I'd like to give it to you free. And although you can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles, it's my gift to you free because I want you to experience the joy and the release from the bondage of depression. I want you to know that there's hope, and I want you to be able to find it readily. You can just need to go to the description below in this video. You can click on it and start reading right away. It doesn't require your email or any other information to capture. And again, I just want you to find out that there's joy in life, even in the midst of darkness. You know, God has the opportunity to pull you up out of those depths if you'll only give him the chance. So I just want to leave you with this one thought, and that is that God loves you more than you could ever know. Maybe you can't see that right now, but the day will come when you will, if you begin to follow after him. So until the next video, guys, remember that thought, and always remember to get outdoors and enjoy everything he's given us. So God bless you guys, and thanks. We'll see you in the next one.